Ever feel like there's, more to a situation than you're seeing or hearing?
Hmm.
Like you're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Well, today we're going to dive deep into the idea of a sixth sense with Shaolin monk Shi Heng Yi.
Oh, awesome choice.
Yeah, we've got his YouTube video ready to go, so let's see what he has to say about activating this hidden sense.
You know what I find so fascinating about Shi Heng Yi is how he doesn't present this sixth sense as some kind of mystical power or anything.
Right.
It's something he believes anyone can cultivate.
Yeah.
And he starts with a foundation we can all relate to, our physical well-being.
Yeah, he comes right out and says, as long as your body is healthy, you have thousands of problems.
Oh.
Yeah, but in the moment your body gets sick, you have one problem.
Wow. That's a powerful statement.
It really makes you think about priorities, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Mm.
He's highlighting that a healthy body is the starting point for expanding our awareness. If we're constantly battling illness or discomfort, our focus narrows, and we miss those subtle cues and energies.
Oh, okay, so that's how it ties into the sixth sense.
Exactly.
So before we can even begin to tune into this deeper level of perception, we need to prioritize our physical health.
Right.
But how does a Shaolin monk's approach to physical well-being translate to our everyday lives?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Shi Heng Yi talks about this balance between external and internal training.
Okay.
It's not just about, going to the gym or hitting the weights.
Right.
It's about cultivating a deep awareness of our internal state as well.
Okay, I'm all ears. Explain this internal training. Is it like meditation?
It is similar, but with a more physical focus.
Okay.
Think of those classic images of Shaolin monks holding perfectly still postures.
Yeah.
Even though there's no outward movement, they're engaged in intense internal work, becoming aware of like the tension in their muscles or the flow of their breath.
So it's like mindfulness, but on a deeper, more physical level.
Exactly.
Okay, so I get that that's how the monks do it, but how does this internal awareness help us in our daily lives?
Well, Shi Heng Yi suggests that by cultivating this deep internal sensitivity, we become more attuned to the subtle energies around us. It's like we unlock this unspoken language of interaction.
Could I really learn to sense someone's true intentions or feel another person's suffering just by becoming more aware of my own body?
That's precisely what Shi Heng Yi suggests.
I've never thought about it like that before. But is this kind of awareness only for people who, dedicate their lives to practices like Shaolin Kung Fu?
That's a great question, but Shi Heng Yi believes that everyone has the potential to tap into this sixth sense.
Really?
Yeah, he sees it as a natural human capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be cultivated through practice, just like any other skill.
So what kind of practices are we talking about?
Well, he offers a bunch of techniques to help us awaken this ability.
Huh.
One of the most interesting is working with our breath.
Oh, okay. Is that something we can try right now?
Absolutely. It's a simple but powerful exercise that can really help to calm the mind.
Okay, I'm game. Lead the way.
Okay, first, find a comfortable seated position. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Just observe the natural flow of your inhales and exhales. Don't try to change it or anything.
Okay, got it. Focusing on my breath.
Now, as you inhale, imagine drawing energy up from the base of your spine all the way to the crown of your head.
Okay.
And as you exhale, visualize that energy flowing back down through your body, grounding you to the earth.
This feels very calming already.
It is a very powerful technique. If you keep practicing this for a few minutes each day, you'll start to notice a heightened sensitivity to those sensations within your body.
This is fascinating. I can see how this seemingly simple practice could lay the foundation for developing a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world.
And that's just the beginning. Shi Heng Yi goes on to explain how this heightened sensitivity can transform our relationships and decision-making.
That sounds pretty incredible. I can't wait to explore that further. Let's see what else Shi Heng Yi has to teach us about applying this sixth sense in our lives.
Sounds good. Let's dive in.
That breathing exercise was amazing.
Right.
I feel like my senses are heightened somehow.
That's exactly the kind of shift that Shi Heng Yi talks about.
Yeah.
When we calm the mind and tune into our internal state, it's like we create space for these subtler perceptions to emerge.
Okay, so it's like we're fine-tuning our radar to pick up on those cues and energies that we usually miss.
Precisely.
So how does this heightened sensitivity actually play out in real-life situations?
Okay, so imagine you're at a party and you meet someone new. They seem charming and engaging, but something feels off.
Yeah. Okay, I've definitely been there.
Their words are saying one thing, but their energy is conveying something totally different.
Yeah, like there's a tension in their smile or a hesitation in their voice.
Exactly. That's your sixth sense at work.
Wow.
It's alerting you to information that goes beyond just the surface level.
So it's like we're learning to read between the lines, not just of people's words, but also their energy and body language.
You got it.
And this ability to perceive these subtle cues could be really valuable in relationships.
Absolutely. It allows us to connect on a deeper level
Yeah.
and make more informed choices about who we trust and how we interact.
This makes me think about decision making too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We often rely on logic and reason, but Shi Heng Yi seems to suggest there's another layer of intelligence we can tap into.
You're right on. Shi Heng Yi believes that this sixth sense plays a crucial role in decision-making. It's like accessing this intuitive wisdom that can really complement our logical minds.
So it's not about abandoning logic altogether, but integrating it with this intuitive knowing.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot between head and heart, between reason and intuition.
I like that. So Shi Heng Yi is basically saying that we should listen to our gut feelings.
He is, but it's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay, how so?
Well, it's about discerning between fleeting impulses driven by fear or desire, and those deeper insights that resonate with a sense of truth and clarity.
So how do we know which is which?
That's where the real skill comes in. And this is something Shi Heng Yi really emphasizes.
Okay.
Cultivating a calm and clear mind.
Right, through practices like meditation and mindfulness.
Exactly. Those practices help us to sort of sift through the noise and distinguish between those different types of inner voices.
So it's not just about passively receiving intuitive hits, but actively developing our capacity for discernment and then, acting on that wisely.
You got it. And Shi Heng Yi has some really practical advice for honing that skill.
Oh, like what?
Well, he suggests paying attention to the subtle sensations in our body when making decisions.
Okay, interesting.
Like, do we feel a sense of expansion and ease, or do we
Huh.
feel constriction and resistance?
Oh, so it's like our body is giving us clues.
Exactly. That physical feedback can provide valuable insights into whether we're truly aligned with our inner knowing.
That's really helpful advice. It's like we're learning to use our body's wisdom as a compass for navigating life's complexities.
I love that analogy. And it takes us back to the importance of that internal training we talked about. The more we cultivate awareness of our internal state, the more refined our intuitive compass becomes.
This is all making a lot of sense now, but I gotta admit, I'm still a little fuzzy on this concept of energy. It all feels a bit abstract and intangible.
Yeah, I get it. The word energy can be a little loaded.
Right.
But in this context, Shi Heng Yi is simply talking about the subtle information we perceive beyond the five senses.
So it's not about seeing auras or anything mystical like that. It's more about paying attention to those subliminal cues that we often just ignore.
Exactly. And he believes that this subtle realm of energy holds valuable insights into ourselves and the world around us.
So by tuning into those subtle cues and energies, we can gain a deeper understanding of our relationships, make better decisions, and even create more harmony in our lives.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm curious about that last part. How can we actually use this sixth sense to create more harmony?
Shi Heng Yi talks about becoming aware of the different areas of our lives, our work, our relationships, hobbies, and how we distribute our energy among them.
Right.
He suggests that by becoming more sensitive to the flow of energy in these different areas, we can identify where we might be out of balance.
Okay, so it's about using this sixth sense to check in with ourselves and noticing if we're, overdoing it in one area while neglecting another.
You got it. He uses this analogy of a juggler trying to keep multiple balls in the air.
Okay, I got that.
If we're not paying attention, some of those balls are going to drop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we need to be aware of those subtle cues that tell us when one area of our life is demanding too much energy.
Right, because that leaves us feeling depleted and out of balance.
Exactly. And he reminds us that we have the power to make conscious choices about how we distribute our energy.
So it's not just about being aware of those imbalances, but taking action to restore equilibrium.
Precisely. He emphasizes making adjustments to our routines, our commitments, even our mindset.
That's empowering. It's like we're taking back control by becoming more aware of these subtle forces that are shaping our experience,
That's a great way to put it.
and then making conscious choices that are more aligned with our true selves and aspirations.
Exactly. That's what Shi Heng Yi encourages us to do.
Mhm.
He sees this sixth sense as a tool for personal growth and transformation.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the sixth sense. It's not some mystical power, it's a natural human capacity we can all cultivate.
Absolutely.
So, to our listeners, we encourage you to explore these ideas further. Experiment with the techniques we've talked about and see how cultivating your own sixth sense can enrich your life.
Trust your inner compass and remember the journey of self-discovery never ends.
So, we've been talking about developing a sixth sense
Right.
and using those insights from Shi Heng Yi.
Yeah, it's been fascinating.
It really has.
Mm.
You mentioned earlier something about how to tell the difference.
Oh, yeah. Between fleeting impulses and deeper intuitive insights.
Right, right.
Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, so, not all those gut feelings are created equal.
Yeah.
Shi Heng Yi says sometimes what we think is intuition is actually just fear disguised as insight.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we tell the difference?
Well, he talks about cultivating what he calls calmness of the heart.
Okay.
This calmness allows us to observe our internal state without judgment.
Mm.
And that way we can separate those knee-jerk reactions from the subtler voice of intuition.
So practices like meditation and the breathing exercise we did would help create that calmness.
Exactly. When we quiet the mind, those deeper insights can surface.
Right.
He uses this analogy of a lake with a choppy surface.
Oh,
You can't see what's beneath the water because of all the waves.
right. But as the surface calms, the depths become visible.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
the same with our minds.
Oh, I like that.
When our mind is calm and clear, we can see past those surface impulses and access the wisdom that's within. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about waiting for those flashes of intuition, it's about actively creating the right conditions for them to come through.
Exactly.
Shi Heng Yi also offers some tips for testing those intuitions right.
He does. Like how?
Well, he suggests asking ourselves some questions.
Okay.
Like, does this feeling align with my values? Does it promote well-being for myself and others?
So we're putting our gut feelings through an ethical filter.
You could say that.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And by considering the bigger picture, we can make choices that are truly in our best interest.
This has been an incredible conversation.
It really has.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of this sixth sense.
Me too.
It's not some superpower, it's something we can all develop.
Exactly.
So to our listeners out there, we encourage you to keep exploring these ideas.
Yes.
Experiment with the techniques we've talked about and see how cultivating your sixth sense can transform your life.
Trust your intuition. And remember, this journey of self-discovery never really ends. That's a great point. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the sixth sense.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
Until next time, keep exploring.